As an autistic person, one of my special interests was train tracks. I think my special interest in train tracks as an autistic person is interesting. It almost seems to be a feature of how my mind works, how I think. The very thing that makes me interested in train tracks seems to be a common theme that makes me interested in some of my other special interests that I have. There's just something how they look, the way they have such an orderly look, and especially how it's like a pathway, how it draws you in and takes you to different places. Train tracks are like an adventure. They remind me of a story. When I see a train track and watch it cross the countryside, it's like watching a movie. The whole concept of railroads and train tracks make me appreciate life, the process of things, the adventure, the whole beginning of something in the end and everything in the middle. It makes you appreciate the whole timeline as a whole. It's like when you plant a plant, it isn't just appreciating the flower that blooms in the end or the fruit or the pumpkin that blooms in the end, but a train track is like appreciating the whole from the very start when you plant the seed, from when it buds to when it grows into a larger plant to the very end. It's like it helps me appreciate the whole entirety of what it is that I appreciate in life. And then of course just the whole orderly nature of it is just really cool. I guess that's the best way to explain it. I can't really explain it, but I tried. But the bottom line is railroads and train tracks has always been one of my special interests. I want to talk about another one of my special interests, and that is trains. All right, ladies and gentlemen, when I was younger, oh my God, I was obsessed with trains. I remember when I turned 3, I got a Brio train set. And ever since I got that train set, I was just so interested in trains. And then I remember going to Edaville Railroad with my dad. It's a narrow gauge railroad near some cranberry bogs in Carver, Massachusetts. And I remember seeing a real steam locomotive for the first time. And I was completely in awe, just staring at that piece of machinery. It was so cool. And I remember riding in the train, just being mesmerized. When I was a little kid, I used to draw them all the time, and then I used to run around pretending I was a train. I used to run around the schoolyard and scream the train whistle. I used to go, woo! I used to run around everywhere, just running around the stores, running around the house, at school. I was known as the kid that was crazy about trains. I remember when I was 3, 4, 5, and 6, I remember just counting the days down till Christmas and my birthday because I was just hoping to get another train. I had train books when I was in the car. I used to pretend I was riding on the train. I became familiar with all the railroads near the area I lived. Unfortunately, we didn't have any trains in the town I lived in, and that always kind of bummed me out, but I used to love going to Cape Cod and Rochester and New Bedford, which was towns nearby, and I knew like where all the railroads were at, and I used to just love looking at the trains. Now, I know trains aren't living things, but when I was a kid, I used to think that they were alive. I used to think there were like trains like Thomas the Tank Engine where they actually were like living. Of course, I don't believe that now, but I always wished I was a train like them and just rumble along the tracks. And when I was older, my biggest dream was to be a railroad engineer. I was obsessed with trains since I was 3 up until I was age 6. Then I had other special interests that kind of took over and diverted my interest. But boy, I was so interested in trains when I was a kid. And the interest kind of reoccurred a couple other times when I got older, but it wasn't as intense as how I was when I was a kid, being interested in trains. Do you have autism and are you interested in trains? Please comment them. I would love to read them.